All right, so we're going to get started. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm very excited about this webinar, about this new release, and I really thank you for being here on this Monday. I'm joined by Terrin Callian. Many of you already know them, Director of Customer Experience. Terrin, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Pretty nice sunny Monday here in Denver, so no complaints there.
Nice. Terrin is joining us from Denver, Colorado. I am in Brooklyn, New York. And as I was saying, we're very excited about this webinar, about this new release. This is not a webinar about the virus. This is not a webinar about the current situation. You guys already know that. You don't need me to remind you. This is a webinar about the present and the future of running a contracting business with Knowify. We've been working very hard over the last few months preparing this new release. We've deployed many new features. We have many more in the pipeline, and we want to look at the future and think that we're going to keep working together. We want to focus on the positive things and doubling down on those. So that's our goal here. And where are we covering today? Many of you have already seen the new release, and you've probably already experienced some of the new features. We've added additional documentation in our user guides. You've received a YouTube video, an email explaining everything. But there are 2 or 3 things that I would like to address because they are very important changes. And I think that those were things that we wanted to change for a long time, that we wanted to improve. And all of them are based on customer feedback. Everything that we build here at Knowify is based on what you guys tell us, on what you guys need. And we try to translate those business requirements into features that will make sense for the whole Knowify community. So we're going to be talking about emails, we're going to be talking about document management, and a few other improvements. And we're going to wrap it up with some Q&A and some thoughts about the future. So email delivery and tracking. Many of you use Knowify, and some of the features that you use are related to emails, things that we send via Knowify. One of our goals from day one was we want to give you full visibility and transparency on what's going on with your emails. If you do residential work, you want to make sure that your emails are actually getting to the customer and getting there first. And if you're doing commercial work, you also want the GC, the PM, these guys to actually receive your emails, to get your proposal, to get your bid, to get all your specs, and make sure that actually, that they get it as you send it. And if they don't, you want to know that. And you want to use this as an edge, as additional information. When they don't receive it, you want to reach out, you want to ping them and see what's going on. So with this in mind, we've changed all the email infrastructure in Knowify, everything behind the scenes. We've deployed, the most advanced technology to track emails. And this will give you a few things that I'll show you now in Knowify. One of them is you can tell when someone opens your proposal, even if they don't click the link, even if they don't open the PDF. Now we have technology to actually tell when the email is open. Those emails are now actually retrieved into the jobs log section. So if you have multiple people in the office, especially now remotely, everybody's sending things separately, you can go to the job logs and see exactly who's sending what and when. And when things are not received, when things are not open, we have more notifications, we have more email alerts. So you can actually act if something has not been properly received. So let me switch back to Knowify. I'm going to show you a little bit what all these changes mean. I'm going to focus on proposals. The changes in proposals are more obvious. The infrastructure and the technology has changed for all our emails. So it has also changed for invoices. It has also changed for purchase orders. But most of the initial, at least visual enhancements, you're going to see them in proposals. And what can you see? Well, the very first thing that you're going to be able to see is that we give you a little more information about when the proposal was delivered. And I'm going to actually go ahead and just filter by those that were sent for signature. You can see when the proposal was delivered. You can see when the proposal is emailed, if it bounced back. So you can actually just click here to resend. And obviously you can see when the email has been opened. When the email has not been opened, we will also let you know. And you will also see like a similar alert to this email bounce back. There are a few subtleties here. So for instance, when you send this proposal out for signature, you're gonna see that it changes right away to emailed. After like a few seconds, 5, 10, 15, when we actually get a response back, you should see this piece of information change to delivered. And we're gonna see it a little bit later. This means that not only Knowify sent the email, but that the email has actually been acknowledged as delivered by the recipient. And that's very important. That's the first step. What else would you see? Well, you will definitely see, as I was mentioning before in the logs, all these emails that are being sent. So we're actually now retrieving all this information into the logs. We want these logs, the job logs, to have the full story about the job, beginning to end. When the job was created, when you sent the proposal, when it was accepted or rejected, or they requested changes and so on. So we believe that this is a very important feature that will actually help you keep all your information in one place. I know that if you are using a separate email solution and you are sending all your proposals from your separate emails, you will have a hard time having all the information in one place. We want to help you with this. We want to make sure that everything is here at your fingertips. You can see, by the way, in this email that I just sent a few minutes ago, it already says delivered. It has not been opened, and it's going to remain like this until the user opens it. The open technology behind these emails means that the user, the recipient, has actually to go and click and open the email. There are certain cases, like emails received on smartphones that use push notifications, that those might actually be considered as received as well. So we're going to be producing some documentation about this, and we want you guys all to be aware of this. These are certainly like very relevant changes, and I think it's going to change the way that we deal with emails, and we actually are aware of all these changes. Our main goal here is, as I said at the beginning, like full transparency, full visibility. Use it as an edge, as additional information on your business. When the customer opens the email, if you know that it has already been opened, you might want to reach out if they don't reach out to you. Those are the classic, the little things that we call it in CRMs. Like making sure that you use this information in your favor. And as I said, it's equally important for commercial and residential work. In residential work, obviously, you want to get there first. You want the customer to see your quote right away. But in commercial work, you want to show that that you run a professional and organized organization, so they can trust you. So both of these things will go a long way. So those are the things I want to show you about emails. And this is a feature that has changed many things around Knowify. The other one, it's almost as important as this one. It's actually document management. When we started Knowify years ago, we thought we were building a business management solution. The reality is that you guys have shown us that we were building also a document management solution. Knowify stores millions and millions of documents. And obviously, we knew that we could improve those features. We knew that we could give you like better tools to actually organize these files. And this is something we've been hearing over and over again, and we had to find the right moment to build it. I think that the moment was now and today. I think it's a very exciting feature. I think it's something that will change the way that you guys use Knowify. I'm going to show you a little bit how this goes. I think I have a few examples here to show you a little bit this tool. I have this active job here. I'm not going to go through the specifics of the active jobs, but you can see that we have a separate section. It used to be with RFIs, for those that use RFIs with us. We've separated them, and now they have their own separate section. And in this section, you will see that it makes it easier for you to upload files. It makes it easier also for you to view these files and organize them. And it gives you a couple of extra tools to go a little bit beyond that. Some things are actually very simple. You can do things like uploading a document pretty much anywhere in the interface. You can click here, or you can drop it pretty much anywhere. You can upload files by clicking here and then bring them right from your computer. So that's the basic stuff. But the point is that you don't have to drag in the specific place. You can actually drop it pretty much anywhere in the browser. And you will see that in certain plans you can create folders, and folders are definitely like really useful for better organization. Those are actually user-created folders, and you will also see that all your purchases and bills that have attached documents that are connected to a specific job will also produce this automatic folder so that all the documents are there in case you need to reference them when you're invoicing the client. I can show you a little bit how the navigation works. And one of the most important changes here, other than making everything slightly like more available, like sharing with mobile or moving documents around by like clicking many of them at the same time, I think the most relevant change here is actually the list and grid view. It just makes it much easier for you guys to go over all the documents. We've seen it. You guys have reached out in the past about this. Some of these jobs with hundreds of thousands of images in one folder. It was pretty much impossible to manage. Our goal is that right now, not only we show you the thumbnails, but you can also like just quickly view them all one after the other. Sometimes the file name, it's not super obvious, so you will not be able to identify something by the name. But the thumbnail will help you, and those thumbnails are pretty much generated right away. And if not, you can rely on this grid view. Additionally, and this goes also, it's a feature that we've had for a while, but now we're giving it a little bit more of importance. It's the ability of adding remote documents into the document section of Knowify. And what do we mean by remote documents? Well, remote documents are documents that actually by definition are not stored in Knowify. It could be a spreadsheet that you have in Google Drive, or anything else that you have in Dropbox, in Microsoft OneDrive. And I have an example here. For instance, you can see, I'm going to switch actually to the list view. You can see that I have folders, and here I have this document here with this specific icon I created through this icon, through this feature here. And this will actually send me inside a different spreadsheet. I'm going to click, and this probably make this, no, that actually worked pretty well. So you can actually see that this is actually something that I had in Google Drive. I know that many of you use spreadsheets either for your bids or for any other sort of tracking. And I wanted to make sure that, that you can actually store it in the right place. I'm going to just now switch this very quickly. Cool. And go back to full mode so you can all see it very well. Excellent. So folder management, document management, grid view, and remote documents that can be stored in Knowify. All these tools have one goal. It's like help you organize all your documentation a little bit better. It also helps you put everything in one place. It's similar to emails. You want to have all the emails in one place. You also want to have all the documents in one place. And it will help you for compliance. Some of you have requirements based on the contract that you have with your customers, that you have to keep logs, that you have to keep certain documentation, that you have to provide this documentation when you have to close out the job. So this is one way of organizing and one way of keeping everything in one place in a safe way. So this is document management, and along with our changes in emails, I think it's a very meaningful improvement, and it will actually simplify the way that you use Knowify. Along with this, we have some other changes, and some of them are small, some others are a little bit bigger. I'm going to go through 2 or 3 of them, which I think are actually a little bit very interesting. Probably many of you have already noticed that we've changed the way that we display certain things in managed contract jobs. We've simplified a little bit. Sometimes this page can get a little bit intimidating. I know that in this example, I have 140 jobs. I know that some of you have thousands of jobs. It's difficult to keep it organized. It's difficult to actually focus on what you have to work next, on what's actually important. And we're going to be simplifying this interface a little bit in the next few months. The first step was simple. We have this small buttons tags here that you can actually see how many phases are left. If you have actually tasks, if you use tasks with Knowify, you can see how many tasks are pending. And you get some basic information about what type of job is this. Those are little changes, but those are the little things that will help you focus a little bit more on the things that you have to do next. And we've done other changes, and one of them was directly the result of customer feedback. And I think I can show you this one. Sometimes it's the little things, right? For instance, you've been working on a project for months. You are finally collecting the last invoice, the last payment for the job. Historically, Knowify, you had to go back to the job and close the job there, which was obviously a little bit annoying. One of our goals was to provide you more information when you are about to record a payment. So we've added this additional information here, and this is going to keep improving over the next few months. But we give you information about, what is this invoice about, and what is the job total value, and how much has the client already paid. And when this amount matches the outstanding amount, we're going to actually let you close the job right away. I know this is a feature that some of you guys have requested in the past, and sometimes are those little things that will save you, a few minutes every day, and that eventually will actually keep your business and Knowify much organized. I know you've heard me say this before. I am a big fan of closing jobs that you're not using. It's going to speed up your experience, and it's going to actually let you focus on the things that are actually running. So this will certainly simplify it a little bit. One of the other things that we've done finally, and I know that this was requested for a long time, it's the ability to edit bills. And you've heard this from us in the past, there were some requirements, some restrictions, especially for those using QuickBooks, the way that bills are pulled into Knowify and pushed. We've finally been able to work out that within Intuit, and now we finally have a way of editing these invoices very easily from Knowify, even if they are connected to a PO, and so on and so on. So I think that's going to make it, really, really simple. And what else? And this goes, yes, a little bit more to focus on remote work. We've been improving one of the sections of Knowify that we always thought it was really helpful, but we kept receiving feedback about how it had to be improved. So for those of you guys using our clock in and clock out features, or even time tracking features in general, we wanted to give you a view where you can see all your crews, all the people in your organization, if they are clocking in and clocking out, where they're clocking in and clocking out. Also be able to display your very easily, incidents or problems that these guys might have. For instance, if they are clocking in or clocking out outside the job site. Those are things that sometimes you might want to correct. We also give you a better idea of what do we mean by outside the job site, and we give you a little bit of a sense of the geofencing and Knowify. Those are little changes, navigating a little bit better from job to job, or getting this additional information when you click one of the guys and being able to see, for instance, I think that Peter, the location in and the location out, which are pretty much in the same place, but not exactly the same place. We've also added filters, so you can not only see the latest activity, but also all the activity for your team in that day. So little things based on customer feedback, and I think that those little things actually make they keep adding up and they make a difference as you use Knowify. And one of the additional changes that we've made, it's something that some of you have not noticed, but it's also important, is that we've strengthened the security behind Knowify. And there's been a few changes behind the scenes in the way that people log in and the people that browsers store our credentials. One of our main goals is to keep your data safe, and also to make sure that no one gets unauthorized access to your account. And for that, we have a team that only works on preventing that. And from time to time, we make changes in security, and those will actually sometimes affect the login infrastructure. So this was an important change also, that even if it goes unnoticed, I want you to know that, that we keep working on making your data safer. One of the things that we've also mentioned, and we're going to have a specific webinars around this, that we've been entering into partnerships with other third-party applications and providers to give you access to certain services that you might need right from Knowify. For those in the US, I know that relief loans, SBA-related loans, it's an important deal. We are all in there. We've all applied. We are all in the process. We've added a partnership here with LendFlow and QuickLink Credit. And I always give the same advice. Go to your bank first. Deal with your local bank first. If they cannot help you, try a service like LendFlow. These guys, they only get paid if you get the loan. So they have certainly an interest in actually you getting the loan. And I think they do a really good job, and they have excellent reviews. You can check them out online. The same goes for AP Intego, also in the US. For those paying workers' comp, I know that's sometimes an important expense and not always aligns with your cash flow situation in the company. And check them out. These guys, they let you pay as you go your workers' comp, which means that it adjusts to the actual number of employees that you have on staff, which is also an important piece. And these are the things that I wanted to cover very quickly. I'm going to just go to my 2020 and beyond, which were final thoughts around this before we opening up for some Q&A. What's next? You've seen, some of you have been with us for years. Some of you know us very well. You've seen how we started and how much we've grown. But this is just the beginning. We have larger plans. We've been doubling our team over the last 2 months. And we want to make sure you get the best service and the best features out of Knowify. And for that, we're going to be improving the communication between you and Knowify. This is not about customers and providers. It is about the partnership that you and Knowify have. And we're going to make sure that we find a way to better streamline feedback, it's something that you can always reach out to our team. We track all the feedback that we receive, and this makes it into the product team. And eventually, the management team will make a decision about which features are built. We want to make sure that you also have visibility on this process. We want you to be able to see whether we're actually building this feature or not. And we're going to be improving that. And that's going to go along with best-in-class customer support. Probably you've seen it lately. If you're reaching out to our support team, that has pretty much doubled. We want that support team to be as a resource in your organization, in your business. If you struggle with anything, reach out to them. If you don't understand a feature, request a training. We have a team of experts just for training. So you just have to reach out. And with better features and better support, we want to be the standard for conducting businesses, for those especially trying to run a more efficient and organized organization. And I think that we're going to have more features, we're going to have exciting changes, and we're going to try to make sure that you guys feel that we provide the very best service. Cool. Tarek, do you want to deal with the Q&A and the questions?
Yeah, I saw a couple questions come in. Actually, here's an interesting one that you might be able to help us answer here. So if someone is sending a proposal, we know that it automatically stores in the Documents tab. If they add an attachment, will that also automatically store in the Documents?
So yes. Right now, the attachments that you add to the proposal will actually also go straight to the logs.
Excellent.
Yep.
And we had a question of whether or not purchase documents will be sent in from the mobile app. They absolutely will, and they will be stored both in your purchases section and on file with the job. At this point, they will not sync with QuickBooks, but you will always have access to those documents. We don't have any limited storage time on this.
I know the QuickBooks question, storing bills and purchase documents and receipts and sending them to QuickBooks has always been a question around Knowify. We're going to be making changes there, and we'll provide more information on that. I think that the QuickBooks is changing their API and making it a little bit more easier to deal with. And I think that one of those changes will include our ability to actually work with documents in a more practical way.
Sure. And then we had a question of if the document section syncs with Google Drive. And that's a little bit of what Mark was showing with our remote documents feature, where although we don't have a direct link to Google Drive at this point in time, you can link to Google Drive files, which is also very useful and storable on the job.
And I know that Terrin is a big fan of Zapier, and we will not get into now Zapier discussions. But there are things that you can do with Zapier that might be able to produce the same result of like syncing the document with multiple places. We will probably end up having a webinar on what we would call handy zaps. And we create a list of things that people have requested in the past and see and show how we would build them with one of these apps.
There was a question about the ability to do a download all in the Documents tab. I don't believe we have this feature right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but it's requested often. So
this is coming immediately, and that's the developers were upset that we didn't release this feature. To be honest, there was something that we wanted to do. So certain browsers will complain when you go and try to bulk download a bunch of files. We are looking into ways of zipping them, or like putting them together in one zip file and then downloading that zip file. That's already in the pipeline, and it's coming up soon.
And then there's a question about storage size limit for documents. I believe the number of documents you can put into a job is more or less unlimited, but the maximum size is, and again, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 10 megabytes for plus accounts, and then 20 megabytes for growth and enterprise per document.
That's correct. We keep reviewing those policies, especially as Knowify has been growing into document management. We are aware that we might want to increase those limits. So we're going to be revisiting that. The maximum storage, historically, we've been very lenient there, and our terms and conditions say that if anybody is like going way beyond limits, we might let you know. But in the history of Knowify, no one has done that. So as long as people store regular stuff, I would say, go for it.
There was a question of whether or not the document management system will be applied to past projects. It absolutely will. If you open up your old projects, you can actually look and you'll see that it now has all of your existing documents, but they're formatted in the new document management system instead. Let's see what else we have here. Are we able to allocate or add emails from Outlook to the job log? I guess you have the ability to obviously just paste the information in there, but if you reach out to our support team, we can give you more information about our auto logging emails too. I believe this is an enterprise feature which can automatically store your email correspondence with customers in your job logs, so you don't have to do any kind of copy and pasting. Another question was, does Knowify offer overtime management? We absolutely do. If you, again, reach out about our enterprise plans, we have a great feature that can automatically split hours into straight time, overtime, and double time as needed, and it'll apply the job cost based off of what you select. I'm trying to see which questions here are mainly relevant to this update webinar.
What I wanted to say is thank you so much for all these questions. I think that I'm excited when people ask questions in webinars, and that's how we keep improving Knowify. I'm, as much as I have my opinion and Terrin will have his opinion, the only opinion that will end up mattering here is actually your opinion. So I certainly appreciate these questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Mark said, we're not the ones who are actively using Knowify day to day, and we would like your feedback as the Knowify's user base to see what we can build next. So never be shy about sending in feedback to our support team. It's always considered and sent right to the development for consideration. We had a question about statements or payment receipts showing balance. We absolutely have this feature right now. And if you reach out to our support team and ask for document customization, that's a very easy and common update for us to make. There's a question about takeoff. Although we very likely won't be adding anything directly into Knowify as a takeoff feature, we do have the ability to connect to, not connect to, but import spreadsheets into your Knowify account. So we do find that a large number of our users will use a takeoff software and get an Excel sheet that says, here's a list of materials that you need to buy, how much they all cost. And then that can be copied and pasted into Knowify as your budget. So you can use your takeoff, but then still get all of the detailed cost versus budget, proposals, all of the job costing that Knowify offers as well. Here's a question. Would like the ability to view project proposals from the mobile app. I believe that's an option now, and if not, that is definitely something that we should be updating in the very near future. Any documents that are available on the web version of Knowify can be available with the right permissions to anyone on the smartphone app as well.
Yeah, this is a question that we get pretty often. And when you're on your phone, there are two things that you can do. You can go download the Knowify smartphone app, but that app is usually for what we call field employees, the guys in the job site, the PMs. And you can always go to your browser on your phone and actually log into Knowify. And that's a simplified experience of Knowify, but you can certainly get to any documents and any information that you have in Knowify.
There's also a question, can you add supply used on a service call without creating a bill? Absolutely. In our catalog, we have a feature called Allocate Materials, which lets you just add materials to a job without having to create a purchase or a bill. And then on the smartphone app, the same function is called Add Parts. And it's basically just a way for you to enter, here are the materials that we used on this job without you having to enter any kind of accounting transaction. Just something that came from truck stock and went directly into the cost of the job.
And I know that many customers, and Terry knows about this because he's been reporting into our team, many customers have been asking about having the ability of doing this right in the service ticket section. And we're going to be adding this very soon. So you don't have to go to your catalog.
Can per diem and reimbursements for employees be included in the timekeeping portion of Knowify? Absolutely. If you are on the smartphone app and you enter a purchase, one of the options is to enter a reimbursement as opposed to just a company purchase. And so what it'll do is send to your direct manager for approval if necessary, and then create an outstanding bill where the employee is the vendor. So when you're paying the bill, you're paying the employee for whatever they purchased with their own money instead of company cash.
And I believe that we have a report that will actually combine both, right, Terrin? Time and reimbursement.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are using a payroll company to manage both reimbursements and time, instead of just paying them separately with checks, then it can all be put together in the same place. A couple more ones here. There's a question about daily logs created for foremen to fill out. For right now, entering information just into the jobs log is a great way to get information from the field into the office. We'll likely be looking into something a little bit more specific, so foremen can fill out something like weather, anything about materials claimed. Obviously they can write in just generic comments. So daily logs are definitely something that we're looking into adding in the future. We found that it's one of our most popularly requested features. And as Mark's showing you here, our current job log, although not a printable report per day, does divide up everything into days with anything relevant to actions performed in Knowify, comments submitted, documents uploaded. It's all there just to show you what's happening in Knowify day to day. So that's always a great temporary solution. And then someone asked about getting enterprise features if you are on the growth plan and just adding singular features instead of adding the entire enterprise plan. It's not something that we commonly do, but if you reach out to our sales team, we're always happy to discuss it in more detail. And then last question we'll take here is if we will be implementing submittals in the future. Absolutely. It's something we've been researching now. Again, you did see that it was one of our options. It's high on our priority list, and we're hoping to be able to have something for submittals by the end of the year. I think that's it for the most part, as far as which questions are relevant to Knowify updates and things along those lines. If your question didn't get addressed or answered, don't be shy about reaching out to us at support@knowify.com. We're always quick to respond and happy to give you as much detail as possible and anything you have questions on.
All right. Thank you so much, Darren. I think that this was a great round of questions. We appreciate very much. And as Darren mentioned, we are here available. So just reach out if you would like, to chat or to provide any feedback. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and thanks Mark for showing us around today.